The RA experience helped me build complementary skills. It helped me relax and meet new people and have fun in my spare time. And for me, actually, it ultimately led into a different career path that I never thought about before. The unique thing about being an RA is living and working in the same place. You don't get that in a lot of jobs, and while it can be a little demanding and a little hard to get away at times, it is really rewarding in the end to see the community you've built around you and to work so closely with your teammates. I think one of the special things about being an RA is getting to do peer support work. It's not something you gain in a lot of other student jobs, but here you really get to learn how to talk to people, how to have good conversations. You learn a lot about mental health and how to talk to people about that. One of the less talked about aspects of the RA job is a lot of administrative work. Things like filling out incident reports, filling out programming proposals, post-event reflections. There's a lot of paperwork that you might not see when you're just looking at what RAs do, but it is there and it's very important because we want to make sure we have all the information to keep our community safe and healthy. Training is probably the best part of the year, and I think that most RAs would agree with me in that. You do more work in training than you will for the rest of the year, but it's incredibly rewarding, it's incredibly fun. We feed you for the whole time and you get to eat really good. And you do a lot of team bonding, which is probably the best part. So it's long and it looks scary on paper, but once it's done, it'll feel like it flew by. Being on duty is like running a marathon, and there's lots happening, people are partying, and it's your job to make sure everything's going well, but it is very fun. You get to meet a lot of people, you get to talk with people as you do your rounds, so it's a very social time as well. I think everyone should be an RA to balance out whatever they're doing academically.
Hello, good afternoon. Everyone can hear me? Okay, so hopefully you are all here to find out about resident assistant hiring. And we have just given you a quick snapshot of all of the wonderful things that hopefully will help you make the decision to apply to be a part of our team for the upcoming year. My name is Rochelle Lehman. I'm the Assistant Residence Manager of Student Life, and with me today we have Agnes Pereira, who is one of our coordinators of Student Life in Voyager Place. But seriously, today we are hopefully going to answer most or all or most of your questions about the process for becoming an RA, finding out more about the job that you are potentially signing yourselves up for, and giving you all the information and the opportunity to speak with us and as well as the members of our current staff to get a better idea of the application process. If you're here today and you're still not sure what is an RA, they are members of student staff who support and work towards the well-being of residents. So typically we are talking about senior students who have had the opportunity to live on campus or to be university students are able to help others navigate that transition to university. You are a resource for academic, social, and personal matters. So we like to think of our RAs as directories. If students in your community is struggling with being an international student, or they stub their toe, they don't know where to go. One of the things to think about our RAs as being able to do is make referrals to people who don't necessarily know where to go get the information, or even if that help is available to them. So you are a positive role model in the residents and the wider community as well. As RAs, you're a very visible position. The green vest is something that is well known on campus, and there are certain expectations of our resident assistants who are representing our department as well as our university. You promote and enforce community standards. So this is one of the maybe less fun parts of the job, doing rounds and telling people about quiet hours, but it's also one of the most important parts of the job. We are enforcing the community standards and the rules that help us to have a positive community, a community that is safe and conducive for studying, for being away from home. This is where you're calling home for 8 months of the year. So the promotion of community standards helps to make sure that everyone is able to enjoy that space to the best of their ability. And you maintain a high level of residence awareness. So while that sounds like a really dry thing, that means you are connected with your students. That means you're knocking on doors, you're checking in to see how they're doing. You're noticing that maybe Sally missed a class last week and you want to make sure that she's okay. She's been a little bit down since the returning from the break. So connecting, engaging, and it's usually one of the things that our RAs say they find is the most rewarding, the ability to meet new students and to have those conversations on a regular basis. And most importantly, you display a strong dedication to community development. When you are enforcing policies, when you're designing programs, when you are connecting with your students and building that high level of resident awareness, what that's really all about is creating community. Recognizing that some students are a long way from home and that we want to create an environment where they can feel safe, where they can feel comfortable, where at the end of a really hard day at classes, they have somewhere to come home where they can relax and be themselves. And that is one of the key functions of being an RA, creating that space, that community for students to be themselves.
Yeah, and like RAs in the community, they make sure that they enhance everyone. An enhanced experience of the university. A university is not only going to school, taking classes, and then going away and study. Being part of the RA program really enhances that by the creation of programs, making sure that you're connecting with the community, and just making lasting friendships.
So we talked in broad terms about what an RA does, what is an RA, and we're going to touch on some of the specifics of what RAs do. So those regular rounds of your residence area on a nightly basis, connecting with students in your hall or your assigned floor, being on duty regularly, and that will vary from area to area, but typically 1 weeknight per week and 1 weekend per month. Responding to student concerns. For many of our students, the RAs are the face of the residence department. They don't know Andres or myself, but they know that Annie is their RA. So if they have a problem, they need to figure out something in residence or just generally, that is our first line of contact with students. And sometimes those things will come up to us, but there are also a lot of situations that resident assistants are able to troubleshoot right with residents in those moments. You're going to plan and execute programming events. So this is what people typically think of when they think about RAs. They're going to think about Sunday or that sexual awareness program. These are things where we are providing our students with opportunities to connect with each other and also to give them opportunities to, as Andres said, university is not just about the books, it's about what's happening in between classes. And also we want to provide our students with learning opportunities. So programming is not only about giving students what they want, but sometimes it's about giving them what they need, how to look for a summer job, professional writing, different opportunities that perhaps connect with your particular interest or skill that you can give to your students at whatever point of the year we're in right then. And other duties as assigned, because residence is unpredictable and as lively as university life. So from time to time, your coordinator or your senior RA might ask you to chip in with a different project, all with the ultimate goal of creating a safe and positive environment for all of our students.
Okay, so why become an RA? So I'll start with a little story. 3 years ago, I applied for this position, and I was part of an RA team. I liked it so much that I came back as a senior resident assistant, and then I loved it so much, mentoring the team, being there with the community, that I came back for a second year as a senior resident assistant, and then now I'm here as the coordinator of a Jaeger Place. So looks like I'm not leaving this place for a long time for now, but it's been such an enjoyable experience. You learn so much. Looking back to Andres from 3 years ago, I would not look at myself where am I standing right now. So you guys will learn so much, and you get out of this job how much you put in. So if you want to learn about leadership and you put yourself to that, then you're gonna learn about leadership. If you want to communicate with people, that's what you're gonna get out of it. So helping people. So many of you know that as RAs, they're there for their community and you're there to help them. Like Michelle mentioned, you guys are the RAs are the first point of contact from the residence department. So people will approach the RAs and be like, hey, the washroom is not working. So the RAs go there and they try to look into it. And also you're being a positive role model. So as you know, we have students coming from a lot of different places of Saskatchewan, Canada, sometimes international students. So you're being that positive role model to them, how they should be acting, how they should be behaving, and what it is like to be a university student living in residence in order to have such an enjoyable time. And another part is being an active team member. When we're in this hiring process, we just are not looking for individuals, we're looking for people that will form part of a team. Because as many of the RAs right now in staff can let you know, teamwork is such a great part of this job. Every single time you're collaborating with someone, it starts from the very beginning, from being on duty during the weekend shifts in some areas. You're gonna be paired up with someone and you will have to be dealing with situations and coming up with a plan of like, hey, how are we gonna deal with this situation? And since then it starts a collaboration. And then things like if you guys went at the very beginning in September to Welcome Week, that is not just planned by one RA, that is planned by the entire team in order to put that great experience out there for residents. This job is a lot about community building, giving a chance to give back. So if you have liked what your RAs have been doing throughout the year until now, and they will continue to do until April, and you want to give back, you want the new students to feel the same way that you felt about this experience, then you should be applying to be an RA in order to give that to them, to make their experience best. And overall, it is fun and exciting. You might think, oh, it's just only a job, but it's actually an experience. And sometimes you will not even think of it as a job, but it starts becoming part of your life. And I'm not the only one that can testify to that, but you can ask every single member of staff that has been doing this, that at the very end, you end up living in your job, and it doesn't feel like, oh, now I have to be on duty. Now I have to go and check in with this student.
Yeah, Anders is definitely right. Once you get into residence, you kind of stick with it. I myself as well was an RA for 3 years at a different institution before becoming a professional member of staff. And I continue to do this job because I believe so much in what residence has to offer to students, and importantly, and also what RAs have to offer to students, and also what RAs are able to walk away from this job with.
So now, what makes a good RA? So everyone, when you think about an RA, you think about the stereotypical RA that either comes up super outgoing, loves talking with people. But RAs are made of qualities and not technically of a personality type. We have RAs that are introverted, we have RAs that are extroverted. We have RAs that they love public speaking, and we have RAs that they just want to have one-on-one interactions and they don't want to talk with 10 different residents. Also, when it comes to programming, there are RAs that they just like to do it for the whole area and everything, but other RAs, they just want to put their programs out there and make sure that they're reaching out to hundreds of students. Some of these qualities that we look out for, what makes a good RA, is someone that is being organized, being able to prioritize tasks and knowing what is important at the moment and how to go about it. Problem solvers. So in this position, you are put a lot in situations where you just have to think in the spot how to go about this. Team players. As I mentioned, you're part of a team. You're just not an individual in a larger department. You're part of a team that is gonna be there to enhance the community. Being approachable. So as you know, all the RAs, everyone likes them. So they go and approach them when you have concerns, if you're going through something. If we were not hiring people that were approachable, no one will, we will not know as professional staff if you're going through something, if we are able to help. So that's one of the biggest qualities that we look for people, is them being approachable, and that also starts with just a smile. Being enthusiastic, so being happy about being part of a community, being part of a bigger team, and just being happy to enhance the experience. Positive role models, and finally, determined. If you're determined to become an RA and you put your heart into it, and you go through the process and everything, hopefully one day you will become one. So just being that determined person, and then you can just go from there.
Yes, thank you so much for that, Andres. When I first applied to be an RA many moons ago, the coordinator who did my info session talked about the fact that when selecting a team, we're trying to build a cake. And sitting there, it's first year RA, I'm like, I'm not sure where you're going with this. But he said that, if you're building a cake, you need eggs, you need milk, you need butter. So it's all of those different things that people bring to the team. If we can't just have all milk, then you're not going to end up with a good product at the end of that. So that's the same thing when we as a team right now are looking for RAs. We're not always looking for one specific type of person, and that's always the first question that you get asked at an info session. So, what do I need to do? What do I need to be? I want this job right now. And honestly, it's the most important thing that we ask of you when applying for this process as you go through the various interview stages is to be yourself. We want to hire you. So you need to represent yourself so that we can figure out how you fit together with the team. We don't need you to replicate Andres and what he's told you of his experience. We want to meet you. So just bring yourself to each stage of the interview process so that we can really get to know you as we move through this.
Hey, so what does a job look like? So there's a lot of components, like Rochelle mentioned in the very beginning, to what the job is. So when you're going through this, we want you to think of the RA position as your primary extracurricular activity. So outside of school, outside of your academic commitments, we expect that you guys take this as a first priority when it comes to extracurriculars. Some responsibilities include maintaining reasonable availability to residents. You guys are that first point of contact, so if you're not available for the people that live in residence, then they will not have someone to approach when they just want to have a talk of how the day was. Designing and implementing programming, I feel like all of you have seen that throughout the residences, but it's one of the biggest things the RAs do, is putting programs out there in order to entertain the residents or sometimes deliver a message or help them out with some stuff. Enforcing residence community standards. We live in residence, and because there's a variety of students, we need to have rules in place. So making sure that everyone is following those rules in order to ensure the comfort and the safety and the wellness of everyone that lives in residence. People come here, they're living 8 months of their lives in our buildings. So they have to be comfortable in order to be able to live there and success academically. Completing regular duty shifts, so like Rochelle mentioned, it varies from team to team. Some teams are bigger, larger, some teams are smaller, but it usually looks like one duty night on the week and then one duty during the weekend per month. Attending weekly RA meetings, so this is when you meet with professional staff, the coordinators of the area, you meet with your team and you discuss things about your area. The coordinator will let you know information that it's important for you in order to do your best job. And it's also a nice chance for the coordinator to meet up with you guys in order to check in, and also a nice place where the team can gather at least once a week. Performing lockouts for students in your residence. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have been locked out of their residence the first time they come and live here. So that's one of the main things also RAs do, is making sure that residents can get into their rooms in order to continue with their days. And completing administrative tasks. Like any other job, administrative tasks are there in order to keep records, in order to ensure that the community is well, and also to keep everything on track. So at this point, I want to invite members of the staff to come on forward in order to share their experiences of what the job has looked like for them. So that will be Dalton, Celeste, Colton, and Jasmine.
Yeah, so it's easy enough to listen to Andres and I talk about the job, but we figured that the best advertisement, the people who can best tell you what it looks like to be an RA, are those people who are currently doing the job in your residence areas, the faces that you are familiar with seeing on a daily basis. So I'm going to ask them to be loud.
So I guess what I like most about the job is that it's different every day. I've been doing it for almost 2 years now, and I haven't seen the exact same thing twice, which is super refreshing. And I guess why I chose to come back is because this is the only job I've ever worked where the people I work for, so the professional staff, we're really into like helping you develop who you are as a person. So if I'm not good at something, they'll help me to get better at it and give me more of those things to work on, rather than just kind of slopping that away and saying, well, that's just not something he's good at. So it's like a job where it allows so much personal and professional growth. And I guess why I would recommend being an RA is because it's like an amazing job for a student because you're working where you live, and it's really easy to integrate this job into your life the way it is, and to kind of just let it find its place and make it individualized for you. So like there's 10 RAs on my team, and none of us do the job the exact same way, and that's totally fine because we all have something that works for us, and we all go with that.
Yeah, so one of the things that I like the most about being an RA is that I get to know everyone in the community. You get to be part of it, and you get to like make the community better. So for me as an international student, when I just came here to Canada, I was like, oh my god, this is such a new experience for me. And then I met my RA, and she made me feel like home. So since then I was like, yeah, I want to feel like I want all the students to make, residents feel like home. But also you get to live there. You work with leaves, so that's so great. That's very convenient, not gonna lie. But then also you get to develop so many important skills for your professional development. That's also something you get. So it's like a win-win situation. I feel. And yeah, I don't know. It's just so good.
So originally when I first applied, it didn't really come around until I came to the very first information session. And then I started talking to my RA, figuring out what the job was like. My entire life I've always been in kind of leadership positions. And then I thought, do I want to try to make a difference in my community and residents? And I decided I do. So I gave it a shot, I applied, I got the job. And then when I got here, I realized that I really loved it. I love being able to meet new people every day. Move-ins are amazing. You get to meet all new faces and figure out where they're from and their stories. And then when it came time to reapply again, I was like, I don't want this to end. I still want to grow. I feel like I still have more places to go in my life. I feel like I can still get better at things. So I applied again for a second time. And again, I'm still loving it. And again, I still feel like I can grow, I can get better. I still want to make a difference, so probably going to happen a third time. And that could be you, and I would really recommend this job. You can't find anything this convenient, this flexible, anywhere around that really helps you develop as a student and as a person. So give it a shot.
And for me, like all the partners here have said, it has been a great experience. For me, I wanted to take on this job because I wanted to become a bigger part of the university instead of just a student, which this job has exactly done for me. For you guys who ever are considering for applying, just take on this challenge. It's going to give you a lot of challenges and a room to grow, and as you'll learn as much as you want to take in. So be open to this opportunity, I'll say. So yeah, good luck.
And I promise I did not tell them what to say. So what I'd like to talk to you about right now is the position of alternate RA. So everyone sees the RAs and in each of our communities, but what you don't realize is that every year we have many fabulous, talented students across campus who apply for what truly are a limited number of positions. So at the end of the year, when we finish picking teams, there's always more people that are like, man, I really want to work with this person. So those are our alternate RAs. Those are the people that we said we really would love the opportunity to work with you, but unfortunately we don't have a space right now. The alternate RAs are also hired in recognition of the fact that student life can be unpredictable. So sometimes there are RAs who are offered a position in March when decisions come out, but for one reason or the other are unable to take up that position as we move throughout the summer, or unfortunately sometimes we may lose people as we move through the academic year. Our alternate RAs are the people that we said, we really love you, we don't have a space, but you should come to training just in case. They get to be part of all of that really great team building. They receive all of the training that we're offering to the RAs who have permanent positions, and it's also a personal and professional development opportunity. So 92% of the RA alternates who remained committed to the position last year actually were offered positions. So as I said, life does happen, and we are asking that if you are offered the alternate position, think about it, but we really would encourage you to take that on, to, hold on, to continue throughout the summer, and hopefully we're able to offer you a position. Being offered an alternate isn't, I know it's not what some people are looking for when they fill out the application, but it's not a consolation prize. We truly do value our alternates. Last year we had a fabulous bunch of alternates who brought really great perspective to our training and who continue to be very active members of our community. And if you're unable to secure a permanent position at the beginning of the year, we absolutely truly consider this role because they are still a part of our team. They attend our trainings and they are important they're active members of the community. They're able to provide some of that peer-to-peer support in an informal way because they have received that training at the beginning of August, at the end of August.
Yeah, like Michelle said, I know like 92% is just a stat over there, but actually I did have a close friend of mine that he started like being offered an alternate position in his year. Then he actually got offered the RA position, and then at the very end, he actually was a senior with me in one of my years. So that's one of the stories I like to tell, is like people get discouraged about getting an alternate position, but he actually made it all the way from alternate to become a senior, and I had a fantastic year with him. We did great things in VP, so don't just toss it aside and actually consider staying there because you will get, it is very likely that you'll get a position offered.
So where can I be an RA? So we have, there are 5 different residence communities across our campus, each of them with its own unique culture and identity, and we have RA teams in each of those areas. So we have Assiniboine and Wollaston, which is a primarily graduate area with many international students. Seeger-Wheeler is a mixed building of both graduate and undergraduate students, primarily undergraduate, also with a heavy proportion of our international students. College Quarter phases 1 and 2 tend to be senior undergraduate students, so they've been here for 2-3 years and they're looking for a different style of living. And Voyager Place is our on-campus dormitory style residence. So each of those areas do offer different styles of living as well. So when you complete your application, you will get to indicate which area you are applying for. You can only apply for one area on your application form. So please take into consideration what you are looking for from your living environment and where you think your specific skills would be of the greatest asset. So Assiniboine and Wollaston are unfurnished 1- and 2-bedroom apartments. Seeger-Wheeler are 6-bedroom apartments. College Quarter phases 1 and 2 are RAs typically live in 1-bedroom apartments with limited options. And of Voyager Place, they are in 1-person rooms. Yes.
Single bedrooms. So yeah, just also like Michelle mentioned, just to reemphasize, consider like what you want to gain out of this experience of being an RA. There's so many different populations, and at the same time, when you're going through the hiring process, we're going to be looking at those skills and everything that you are going to be offering to that area that you have specifically applied. So while most of the RAs, like we said, they all have the same qualities, but they might look a little bit different on like a graduate area in Assiniboine and Wollaston to Voyager Place that is usually like second year, third year RAs, which they're like at a younger range. So we do have a varied range of age within the RAs.
So here's the mechanics, the logistics of applying to be an RA. So late January, applications open. AKA today, we do have application forms for those of you who are here today, so please make sure you grab one on the way out. Those will also be available from our residence office, and they are now live on our website as well for those of you who are watching at home. In early February, you will be invited to a group interview. Actually, on your application form, the tentative dates for the group interview are listed, and we'll ask you to indicate your availability for those 3 nights. We do schedule our group interviews based upon the availability that you indicate, so we please ask that you consider your schedule carefully and that you keep those spaces open until we have confirmed what group interview you will be attending. In late February, those who are successful at our group interview will be invited to attend an individual interview. So at the group interview, you will be assigned to a group, you're going to move through a couple different stations, you get to do some of the tasks that we ask for RAs. It's an opportunity for us to see you, but also an opportunity for you to get a better idea of some of those things that our RAs are actually doing on a day-to-day basis. And from that process, we invite some students to sit down one-on-one, well, one with two. You sit down with the coordinator for your area and the current senior RA for your area to learn a little bit more about you and your potential fit with our team. In late March, we send out our offer letters, we say you're fabulous, come work with us, and following that, in early April, we bring together the whole 2018-2019 RA team for the very first time. That's where you're going to get to meet your senior RA, your returning RAs, figure out who else in your building is coming back next year as a part of your team, and then we'll communicate to you the next steps as we move through the process. And the other important thing for you to know is that we will communicate with you either way at each stage of this process. That means you will never just not hear from us. And if you just don't hear from us, give us a call. Something probably went wrong. But we will let you know either way as we move through this process, just so you're not left hanging and wondering how you did in the interviews.
Hey, so how can you apply? So like Michelle mentioned, there's application packages available for all of you guys over here. They're going to be available at the website, so that's livewithus.usas.ca. They're also in the residence office and the RA offices. So every single one of your areas, except for A&W, you have RA offices. So they're also going to be available for there. Also, throughout next week, there's going to be the information booths in VP and in CQs. So you can also get an application package for those from the RAs that are working in those information booths.
And the info booths are also another great opportunity for you to get more information about the position. We want you to come in making as informed a decision as possible about applying. So if after today you still want to talk to someone else, to another RA who's working specifically in your area, check out the info booths. They're there because they want to talk to people who are considering the role. And that's another opportunity for you to get more information about this position.
Yeah, where can you submit your application? So you can drop it by in the residence office. You can give it to the areas that are working on duty, or if you want, you can pay the coordinator of your area visit, and you can hand in your application if you want to have a little chat. Or you can send it via email through ra.hire@usas.ca.
So the application that's available on our website is a fillable PDF, so you can fill it out right on your computer, send it off via email. As Andres said, all of our coordinators are friendly. You can feel free to stop by their offices. We ask that if you are dropping your application off to an office when there's no one there, that you slide them under the door. I know a couple of the doors do have little slots, specifically in College Quarter. Those are for something different. So if you can just slide those under the door so that we make sure not to miss your application. And the deadline for applications is 4:30 p.m. on Friday, February 2nd. So when we say 4:30 on Friday, February 2nd, that means 4:30 we're asking that you make every effort to get your application in on time, as late and or incomplete applications will not be considered.
So I will recommend everyone to either write it down on your notebooks right now, take out your phone, put it down in your calendar, deadline 4:30 for RA application. So if you have your phones, take them out and write it down in your calendars.
Yes, set an alarm. That sounds like a good idea. So you've applied and I'm hired. What next? Tell us, Andres.
So what's next after you're hired? Like Rochelle mentioned, the very first thing that happened, you're gonna come to a welcome meeting in April, and you're gonna get to meet the team that is gonna come next year in order to support, enhance, and do all the amazing things in residence for 2018, 2019. Yeah, it sounds a little bit scary when you say it out loud. And then after that, what's coming? So full RA training. So that is mid to late August. And that is a mandatory training. If you want to be an RA and you have been offered a position, you have to come to training in order to actually be an RA in your area. I don't know how much I can stress the fact that training is important. That's when you get to meet, spend time with your team, bond with them, and also that's the time where we teach you guys some of those essential skills that you need in order to do your job. So how does it look like to be on duty? How do I respond to a student in crisis? So all of that is taught during training, so if you do not attend, then you cannot be an RA because we haven't shared that information with you. So that starts 2 weeks before classes begin. So if classes begin early September, you're coming mid-August in order to do that training. Also, from experience, it's really awesome to be the only people in residence and all the hallways are empty and it's only you and your fellow RAs there. So that's a really nice experience because after that, for 8 months, everyone is gonna be there, so there's no peace after. And then also we have in-service training sessions. So throughout the year, we're going to have a couple of training in order to enhance a couple more of those skills, to, refresh, if there's something happening in our, the bigger community, then addressing those issues. And they're pre-scheduled. So when you come to training in August, we will let you know right away, hey, this day for fall, this is when we're going to have another in-service training. And in term 2, this is the date we're going to have an in-service. So from the get-go, you know the commitments that you're going to have. And we're going to give you not only the in-service training sessions, but also other commitments that you guys will have as RAs. So you can write them right away in your calendars.
Yes. So as Andres said, training is mandatory. I was going to say it's very important, but it's mandatory. And that is for the entire duration of training. And these are typically long days, and it covers the entire weekend. And every year we have to do so. But when you mean like 10 full days, I didn't think you meant on Saturday too. So I want you to understand that it is a significant commitment in mid to late August, but it is critical in the life of a successful RA. It covers a wide range of important themes, as he said, responding to crisis. How do I do this job? It can be a difficult job, and we want to set you up for success. This is why we make it, this is why it's mandatory. This is why, as soon as students leave in April, the professional staff is planning training. We are bringing in partners. We're connecting with experts outside of the university. There's a lot of time and effort that goes into it because we want to create a training program that best sets you up for success. But you need to attend in order to do the job well. And we ask that you consider whether or not you're able to commit to those last 2 weeks in August when you are applying. Some of those important things that we talked about, conflict resolution. You've got a roommate conflict on your floor. How do you have those conversations? How do you support students in navigating that? Diversity and community development. Our campus is a diverse campus. Even looking around this room, there are no two students who look the same. How do we deal with that? How do you support students who've never engaged with that before? What if you personally had never engaged with that and now you need to support students through that? And that brings me to student support. And that can be anything from I'm feeling homesick or I want to change my program. I just need someone to talk to. And we actually do provide training on how to be a better listener, how to open conversation, how do you encourage people to share with you, and how do you support them through that. Community standards. So we talked a lot earlier about your role in enforcing community standards, but you can't enforce them if you don't know them. So, you know, there are some dry days, but these are all the things that you need to know in order to do this job. And most importantly, fun. So there is team building, there are social evenings. We want you guys to also have the opportunity to connect as a student staff team. You're going to be working very closely with each other over 8 months. So we do build in those opportunities for you to get to know each other better, for you to build some of those great memories that Andres was talking about. And having been an RA for multiple years, this is the second institution where I've worked at as a professional, and I'm going into my 6th year here. And every year I go to training, I learn something new. So we do this for a reason. And a lot of students look at it, they're like, do we really need all of this training? And it can look a little overwhelming, but we trust us that everything on that schedule is there for a reason. And when we break, we get an opportunity to talk with the RAs, because I see a couple head nods here. They are able to let you know that, yeah, you know what, I didn't think I was gonna, but I'm so glad we did it. And that is what we want to be able to provide to everyone who steps into this role. The opportunity to say, you know what, I'm glad I knew this. We never want you to end up in a situation where you are completely flummoxed. So that is the mechanics, that is why to become an RA, that's how to apply to become an RA. At this time, I'd like to invite you, if you have any questions, anything that wasn't clear, raise your hand. Promise I'm not scary. Let us know. Yes, please.
Is it mandatory for the people who want to be RA to be residents in the university's residence? For example, if I change my place next year, I cannot be the RA or no, I continue to be RA.
So that's correct. Even if you're not living on campus right now, you need to be a registered full-time student living in residence for the entire duration of your contract. So the RAs are assigned specific space in the community, and part of that reasonable availability is based on you being physically present in the building.
If I live in Sigalina, can I do an RA uniform suite?
So you will have to live in the community for which you are hired. So if you are currently living in Seager and apply for Assiniboine and Wollaston, you have to apply to, we will help you, but you have to be committed to moving to the area for which you have applied. And that goes as well for anyone who's currently employed your place but has been thinking about moving over to College Quarter because they want to do their own cooking. Hopefully, like, that was me. Yeah. So yeah, you just need to be committed to living in the area that you apply for.
Anything about the salary?
So incoming RAs make approximately $1,800 per term. And that is paid out in a monthly stipend from September until April. If you're not comfortable speaking to the big group, that's okay. We know some people aren't great with large crowds. We will have an opportunity for you to speak one-on-one with myself, Andres. We've got some additional professional staff in the room, and we have some current RAs as well. So at this time, I would like to premiere for the very first time a testimonial video that two of our professional staff have been working very diligently on. As we said, our RAs are the best advertisement for this role. And they came up and they talked a bit about all the personal growth and the professional development. So we put together a package here that not only that helps you to see where some of that professional and personal growth and development can take you should you decide to join us next year.
I've been through the RA position as a new RA, a returning RA, as well as a senior RA. This position definitely allowed me to be myself and express my genuine feelings and help others.
Being an RA helped me come out of my shell. I never thought that I would be so comfortable and so confident to create a safe space and an atmosphere where your students feel comfortable to learn, but also to come to you if there are any concerns, questions, or even to tell you a story of their day.
The major part of being an RA was more behind the scenes, where I actually was able to make close, long-lasting friendships with the members of my team and the students that I shared my residences with. And I've also privileged to be able to have a room where people could feel welcome and safe to come and share their stories, both joys and sorrow.
My experience as an RA was being pushed out of my comfort zone a lot, and I got to meet tons of people, which when I applied for the position I was an introvert, and I still am, so that was a big deal for me, being able to interact with all these people.
Although this one is a bittersweet memory, it was when I actually had to leave residence to go out and become a teacher. The love that I felt when I left the residence department was overwhelming and something that I've never felt before.
One of the favorite memories that I have is actually especially during the August training. We got to meet every day for 2 weeks or so in a row, and we got to spend time together off campus too. We became a close family, and always had this family of RAs around during the academic year as well to rely on and hang around with.
One of my favorite memories as an RA was hosting an event that I planned for a Halloween party We set up the decorations. It took us over 4 hours of planning, and we had a great time. Tons of people showed up. There was a dance floor, there was candy, it was great.
The favorite memories I had being an RA were the days that we worked as a team and did programming to entertain the major residence community. The move-in dates were fun because we got to know lots of new people and help them.
The skills that I learned was being able to accommodate, being flexible for others, being able to help others, being open to others, being able to understand others. I definitely became much more open.
Lots of life skills. First and foremost, I would say to step out of my comfort zone and work in a totally new area. I also learned about being methodical, planning things out creatively in a timely manner.
The biggest skill I took away from being an RA is learning how to be a professional. Being cognizant of the fact that people are watching you and knowing that you have to behave in a manner that's appropriate for your position. And another big thing that I took away was time management and proper communication techniques.
By working so closely with my coordinator student life, I learned many skills through her professionalism that she showed. Things like writing an email, making sure reports and documents are in on time, collaborating with others, speaking your mind while being respectful.
Because pharmacy is a professional college, it's essential that I'm behaving as a professional. So the training I received as an RA towards that has been a phenomenal asset to me in the pharmacy program here. And I'm using many of the skills that I learned working as a team with other RAs.
When it comes to my position to write research ideas, probably grants, I will definitely use the skills that I gained as being an RA.
So I use some of the skills that I learned as an RA in my current role as a teacher. Some of the skills were organization, leadership, interpersonal, communication, professionalism, and witness, which are so important in the classroom.
Skills that I learned from all of these roles and responsibilities are still applicable to this day in my career as well. Nursing is primarily based on helping others, and definitely that's one of the skills that I actually got from being a resident assistant at UFS, and that's where that inspiration started from.
My current role as a teacher in a grade 1 classroom.
Now I'm in the College of Pharmacy here at the U of S, in a program called the PharmD program.
PhD student in the Department of Veterinary Pathology.
Right now I work as a registered nurse at the Vascular and Thoracic Surgical Unit at St. Paul's Hospital. I would definitely recommend and strongly encourage you to try this. If you want to make this university experience,
do it. I almost guarantee you won't regret it. Go for it, give it your all, and you're going to learn great things and meet great people.
I would recommend being part of the RA team to anyone that's looking for the opportunity to create and provide a supportive and safe space for all who are living there.
Being an RA makes you a bigger person than you are. You get to help somebody who you never knew, and the memories you make will cherish forever.
Okay, so hopefully that gave you a little bit more insight, not only about what next year potentially could look like for you, but also where you could go in the future with some of the skills that you've developed here, and about what this experience could look like for you. Thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful weekend, and I look forward to reviewing your applications.